Like many others, I heard all the rage about how garbage Black Ops 7's campaign is, but I also know that people love to hate on COD, even though it's pretty much provided the same product for years now, so it's likely just fatigue from longtime players. But I wanted to see for myself if the campaign was actually the worst thing ever, or if it's just the usual COD slander. It's not. The campaign is bad. But I can't just end the video right there, you just started eating. So join me on my journey through the endgame tutorial, Black Ops 7 campaign. It starts off great, with a cool cinematic and stealthily dropping into an enemy base. And then the HUD appears, and we lose what typically makes the campaign different from the other game modes: immersion. We have a compass and a minimap, the two things you don't want in a COD campaign. Following that, you are met with the second negative: you cannot pause the game. It is a co-op campaign, but despite playing it solo, you cannot take any breaks without potentially losing progress on your mission. As I enter the first encounter, the campaign receives Strike 3, which is health bars on enemies. The first issue with this is that it's just more stuff on my screen. That's not really a problem because I turn off HUD elements all the time in games I play for a more minimal and cleaner look. The real issue is health bars usually imply a longer time to kill. As you're seeing here though, I've been able to one-shot headshot these guys no problem, but very quickly we'll start taking multiple magazines to take down just a few enemies. I then was presented with the usual scuffed puzzle that takes an instant to figure out but 10 seconds to physically solve. I even preferred these puzzles in the last game, where they added to the espionage feel and felt more grounded in the world. As I entered my first firefight, I came to the realization that there weren't even difficulties to choose from, meaning if I wanted to turn off a bunch of HUD elements to improve my immersion, I couldn't also drop the difficulty so the time to kill was more realistic. And then, strike number 4, weapon rarities in my campaign. I'm fine with it in zombies as it adds to the progression of the games, but in a COD campaign, I'm not looking for progression. I'm looking for a somewhat realistic story that makes me feel like a cool soldier in an action movie. We then reach the catalyst of the story, where our team is exposed to Scarecrow's toxic gas, where we'll have to deal with the ever-present hallucinations that will plague us throughout the campaign. The first of which is a giant boss fight. Now, if this was the grand culmination of us battling the gas within our minds, I think it would be fine, but this is the first mission. So after this battle, we're put into our first, I'll call it a traveling sequence, where we're in the actual endgame map and have to go to the next mission. They really didn't have to add filler into this campaign. And it was in this moment that I was reminded what this campaign actually is: a tutorial for endgame. And if you look at it like that, it's fine. Even though endgame is very straightforward and doesn't really need a tutorial, the fact that they put together a narrative that touches on the different elements of the endgame mode is appreciated. They didn't have to do a campaign at all, and I wonder if they would have received even more backlash if that was the case. But I just remember how interesting that first reveal trailer was.
You'll witness the global scope of that mission in action. Let me introduce you to our esteemed visionary.
So many people didn't even realize it was Call of Duty. So why make the campaign seem like some cinematic experience if that's not what it is? If COD had outright said what their intentions for this campaign tutorial was, I don't think people would have been as upset. We now enter our next mission, another gas-induced trip into our minds with admittedly a really cool aesthetic, probably the most memorable mission in the game for me. And it was capped off with a remnant from the ashes root boss. That I enjoyed grappling around and shooting at. And after that, once again, we returned to the endgame map and did what was very far from the last press square on something and wait objective. It was here that I fought another boss that was kind of neat. It felt like I was fighting Deadshot as I had to take down this constantly relocating sniper. The next campaign mission was a multiplayer match on Hijack that concluded with a VTOL boss fight that I was fine with too. Honestly, all the bosses were fine. It was really just how insanely damage spongy the regular enemies were that weighed down the missions a ton. It weighed it down so much though that I began CSGO surfing through the levels just to cut down through all the damage sponge shenanigans. The next interesting mission was of course another trip into one of our team's mines and took place on a swirly highway. And unfortunately, once again, it boiled down to a shooting gallery of damage sponges with a cool background. I do believe that this campaign could have been much better with just some tweaks. Reducing the HUD elements, reducing enemy health, and cutting out the endgame traversal sequences would have left us with still a pretty scuffed campaign. but a shorter one that would have had enjoyable shootouts with cool environments and a boss after each level. Going back to what the campaign actually was, our highway level concluded with a boss fight against Galactus from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. So that was fun. I then did more CSGO surfing, and the cycle pretty much repeated. Go somewhere, press square, fight off waves of enemies, fight zombies, go into your mind and work together to overcome your inner demons. There was a mission where Mason reminisced about his time with his dad, and the game made sure to constantly attack me with spiders so I couldn't enjoy the emotional moments. I became friends with some zombies. We got betrayed. We had a boss fight with our betrayer where he used Winston's full kit. We blew up a reactor, you know, all that typical action stuff. And then I was thrown to endgame to grind camos. I won't drag this video out. The campaign was a tutorial and backstory for the endgame mode, which is fine. I kind of knew that going into it. It's just kind of too bad that the new trilogy of Black Ops games campaigns went from this
Hello. Glad you could join us, Hans.
Dipshit probably thinks he's safe.
That piece of trash is a lot of things. But safe ain't one of them. Let's help him bring in the new year. Go!
For the money? I have no idea where Arashi is.
I don't think you understand the situation.
to this.
I don't know why you're here exactly, but you need to be very, very careful. Langley has assembled a team to track the three of you down, and they may even have eyes here tonight. If you are spotted, forget about suspension. Livingston will literally bury you alive.
Don't let up! Push him back! Move up! Get ready!
Landing on 10 o'clock.
Keep him off me!
Canceling back around.
To this. But COD is COD, and it still provides a fun FPS experience in multiplayer and zombies and even the endgame. Plus, I always get plenty of high quality rich stories from other games, so it's really no big deal. Thank you for watching, and take care.